There's a man who walks into a room, and before he even opens his mouth, people turn. Women lean in, conversations pause. He hasn't said a word, hasn't flexed his status, hasn't even made direct eye contact yet, but something about him pulls attention like gravity. What is he doing that you're not? Here's what most people get wrong about attraction. They think it's about clever lines, expensive clothes, or being the loudest person in the room. But the truth? The most magnetic people barely speak. They communicate in a language that's older than words, more honest than anything you could script, and infinitely more powerful. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how to use it. If you've ever felt invisible in social situations, if you've ever watched someone less qualified, less interesting, or less accomplished command attention while you fade into the background, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share isn't theory, it's an operating system that's been tested across cultures, decades, and millions of social interactions. And it works even if you're naturally introverted, even if you've never considered yourself charismatic, and even if you think you've tried everything. Before we go further, do me a favor. If you're serious about transforming how people respond to you, hit that subscribe button. This channel exists to give you the unfiltered frameworks that actually move the needle in your social and romantic life. No fluff, no recycled advice, just what works.
Now let me tease what's coming. We're going to break down the eye contact pattern that creates instant chemistry without creepiness. You'll learn the posture shift that makes you look 10 pounds lighter and twice as confident in under 5 seconds. I'll show you the touch calibration system that builds trust and attraction without ever crossing boundaries. We'll explore the silence technique that makes people obsessed with what you're thinking. And finally, the proximity principle that turns strangers into allies faster than any conversation ever could. But here's the catch. You can't fake this. Well, you can try, but people will smell it instantly. What we're really doing here is aligning your external behavior with an internal shift in how you see yourself and your value. Because invisible seduction isn't about tricks. It's about becoming someone who genuinely doesn't need validation. And paradoxically, that's what makes you irresistible. Let me tell you about Marcus. Average-looking guy, worked in tech, considered himself awkward around women. He'd go to bars with his friends and watch them effortlessly start conversations while he stood there nursing a drink, trying to think of something clever to say. One night, he stopped trying. He just stood there, relaxed, watching the room with mild curiosity, no agenda. A woman approached him within minutes. "You look like you're actually enjoying yourself," she said. "Everyone else here is trying so hard." That one shift, that letting go of the need to perform, changed everything for him. So let's start with the foundation. Your body is always broadcasting. Right now, as you watch this, your posture is telling a story. Are your shoulders rolled forward, protecting your chest? That's the body language of someone expecting criticism. Is your head tilted down, eyes cast at a screen? That's submission, whether you realize it or not. The first invisible signal you need to master is what I call grounded expansion. Here's how it works. Stand up for a second. Go ahead, actually do this. Plant your feet shoulder-width apart. Imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet into the ground. Now, without puffing your chest or forcing anything, imagine a string attached to the crown of your head, gently pulling you upward. Your spine lengthens, your shoulders fall back naturally, your chest opens without effort. You're not trying to look big, you're simply taking up the space you're entitled to. This isn't just about looking confident. This posture actually changes your hormonal state. Studies show that expansive postures increase testosterone and decrease cortisol within minutes. You literally become more confident from the inside out. And people pick up on that energy before you say a single word. But here's where most people screw it up. They take this advice and turn themselves into stiff robots. They walk around with their chests puffed out like they're about to fight someone. That's not grounded expansion. That's insecurity trying to look like confidence, and everyone can tell the difference.
Real confidence is relaxed. It's loose in the joints, calm in the breath, steady in the gaze. You're not bracing for impact, you're simply present. Now let's talk about the most powerful communication tool you have, your eyes. There's a reason people say eyes are the window to the soul. In under 3 seconds of eye contact, people make unconscious decisions about your trustworthiness, your confidence, your intentions, and yes, your attractiveness. But most people either avoid eye contact completely or stare in a way that feels aggressive. Neither works. Here's the pattern that creates connection. When you first make eye contact with someone, hold it for a beat longer than feels comfortable. Not creepy long, just 1 extra second. This signals confidence and interest. Then let your gaze soften. You're not drilling into them, you're inviting them in. When you speak, maintain eye contact about 70 to 80% of the time. When you listen, push that to 90%. This asymmetry is key. It shows you're confident when speaking, but genuinely interested when they're talking.
And here's the move that separates amateurs from masters, the triangle technique. When you're in conversation, don't just lock onto someone's eyes like a sniper. Let your gaze occasionally drop to their mouth for a fraction of a second, then back to their eyes. This creates a subtle suggestion of intimacy without being overt. It's a glance that says, "I notice you," is more than just a talking head. Used sparingly, it's devastatingly effective. But let me give you a warning. If you try this technique while you're in your head, overthinking, calculating your next move, it won't work. It'll feel mechanical and weird. The secret is to actually be interested in the person in front of you. Find something, anything, that genuinely fascinates you about them. Their energy, their laugh, the way they tilt their head when they think. When you're truly curious, your eye contact becomes magnetic automatically. Let me share a quick story. I once watched a friend of mine, Sarah, at a networking event. She's not conventionally gorgeous, doesn't dress to stand out, and she's naturally quiet. But she has this way of looking at people when they talk, like they're the only person in the room, like whatever they're saying is the most interesting thing she's heard all week. By the end of the night, she had 3 people ask for her number and 2 business opportunities, not because of what she said, because of how she made people feel when they were with her. Now, if you're enjoying this, drop a comment below and tell me, what's the biggest mistake you see people make when trying to be more attractive? I read every single comment and I'll pin the best answer. Plus, it helps me create content that actually serves you. Let's move to something most people completely ignore: space and proximity. There's an invisible bubble around every human being. It's called proxemics, and it's one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. Most people either invade this space too quickly, which triggers discomfort, or they stay too far away, which keeps everything surface level. The key is calibration.
When you first meet someone, respect the social zone. That's about 4 to 12 feet. Casual, public, non-threatening. But as the conversation warms up, as you notice signs of engagement, laughter, their body turning toward you, that's your invitation to close the gap. Move into the personal zone, 3 to 4 feet. This is where connection happens. You're close enough that your energy mingles with theirs, but not so close that alarm bells go off. And here's the ninja move. Once you're in the personal zone, create what I call anchored proximity. If you're standing, position yourself at a slight angle rather than face to face. This feels less confrontational, more collaborative. If you're sitting, angle your body toward them, but leave space. You're not crowding, you're framing. And every few minutes, lean in slightly when they say something interesting. Lean back when you are speaking. This push-pull rhythm keeps their nervous system engaged. But proximity isn't just about distance, it's about touch. And this is where 90% of people either do nothing or do way too much. Let me be crystal clear. Touch, when done right, is the fastest way to build trust and attraction. Touch, when done wrong, is the fastest way to end up on someone's never again list. So here's the framework. Start with socially acceptable touch, a handshake, a high five, a light touch on the shoulder when emphasizing a point. These are neutral zones. If they're receptive, if they don't pull away or stiffen, you can escalate to what I call conversational touch. A brief touch on the forearm when you're laughing, a hand on their back as you guide them through a crowded space. These touches last 1 to 3 seconds max. You're not lingering, you're punctuating. The rule is simple. Touch, then withdraw. Never let your touch outstay its welcome. This creates a little vacuum, a tiny craving for more contact, and that craving is the engine of escalation. But, and this is critical, you have to be calibrated. If someone steps back, crosses their arms, or gives you closed-off body language, you've gone too far too fast. Respect that immediately. Pull back to the social zone, rebuild comfort, and only advance if they re-invite you.
I once coached a guy named David who was terrified of touch. He thought any physical contact would be seen as aggressive or weird. So we started small, just high fives when someone made a good point. Then light shoulder touches when guiding people through doorways. Within 2 months, his entire social life transformed. People described him as warm, engaging, magnetic, all because he learned to communicate comfort through appropriate touch. Now let's talk about something counterintuitive: silence. Most people are terrified of silence in conversation. They fill every gap with nervous chatter, jokes, or questions. But silence, when used intentionally, is one of the most seductive tools you have. Because in silence, people project. They start wondering what you're thinking. They start filling the space with their own curiosity. And that curiosity turns into fascination. Here's how to use it. When someone asks you a question, don't rush to answer. Take a breath. Let a beat of silence sit there. Then respond. This simple pause makes everything you say land harder. It signals that you think before you speak, that your words have weight. It also makes people lean in, literally and figuratively, to hear what comes next. And when someone shares something vulnerable or meaningful, don't immediately respond with advice or platitudes. Just let the silence hold the moment. Nod, maintain eye contact, let them feel heard, not fixed. This level of presence is rare. Most people are just waiting for their turn to talk. When you actually listen, when you give space for emotions to breathe, you become unforgettable. But here's the subtlety. Silence only works if you're comfortable with it. If you're sitting there panicking, wondering if you should say something, they'll feel that anxiety. The power of silence comes from inner stillness, from genuinely being okay with not filling every moment with noise. That comfort with yourself is what people find magnetic.
Let me tell you about an interaction I witnessed at a coffee shop. A guy and a woman on what was clearly a first date. He was doing all the classic nervous things, talking fast, asking question after question. She seemed polite, but checked out. Then something shifted. He stopped mid-sentence, smiled, and just looked at her for a moment. She blinked, surprised. "What?" she asked, smiling. "Nothing," he said. "I just realized I've been talking a lot. Tell me something you've never told anyone on a first date." The silence before her answer was electric. She leaned in and shared something real. The entire energy changed. That's the power of intentional silence. Now here's a piece that ties everything together. Energy management. You can have perfect body language, flawless eye contact, calibrated touch, and strategic silence, but if your energy is off, none of it matters. What do I mean by energy? I mean the vibe you bring into a space. Are you anxious, seeking approval, trying to prove something? Or are you calm, abundant, genuinely enjoying the moment regardless of outcome? People are incredibly sensitive to energy. They might not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. When you walk into a room needing validation, people sense that lack. It repels them. But when you walk in complete, when your happiness isn't dependent on anyone's reaction, that sufficiency draws people like moths to a flame. So how do you cultivate that energy? It starts before you ever enter a social situation. If you show up stressed,
depleted, or insecure, no technique will save you. But if you show up rested, grounded, and genuinely curious about people, everything flows. Take 15 minutes before any social event to center yourself. Deep breaths, visualization. Remind yourself that you're not going there to get anything. You're going to offer your presence and see what happens. That shift from needing to offering changes everything.
Let me share one more story to bring this home. I know a woman named Jessica. She's in her 40s, single mom, doesn't have model looks or a glamorous lifestyle, but when she goes out, she has options. Why? Because she stopped trying to be attractive and started being authentically herself. She dresses in a way that makes her feel good, not what she thinks will impress others. She talks about what genuinely interests her, not what she thinks people want to hear. And she's completely okay with someone not being into her. That freedom from needing approval makes her irresistible. Here's what I want you to understand. Invisible seduction isn't about manipulation. It's not about tricking someone into being attracted to you. It's about removing the barriers between who you really are and how you show up in the world. It's about becoming so comfortable in your own skin that your presence becomes a gift to others. That's the real secret. Confidence isn't something you project, it's something you embody. And when you embody it, you don't need to say a word. People just know. So, let's recap the core principles. Master grounded expansion in your posture, taking up space without apology or aggression. Use eye contact with intention, holding a beat longer, softening your gaze, and employing the triangle technique when appropriate. Calibrate your proximity, moving closer as comfort builds, but always respecting boundaries. Use touch sparingly and strategically, always withdrawing before it becomes too much. Embrace silence, letting pauses create curiosity and depth. And above all, manage your energy, showing up complete rather than seeking validation. These aren't party tricks, they're a way of being. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice them, the less you'll need to think about them. They'll become natural. You'll walk into a room and people will respond to you differently, not because you're performing, but because you've become someone who's genuinely comfortable with themselves. And that comfort, that self-possession, is the most attractive quality a human being can have. If this video gave you a new perspective, hit that like button. Drop a comment with the #1 insight you're taking away from this. And if you're ready to go deeper into becoming the most confident, magnetic version of yourself, subscribe and turn on notifications. I release content every week that doesn't just entertain, it transforms. Remember, you don't need to become someone else. You just need to become more fully yourself. And when you do that, without saying a word, you'll become absolutely irresistible. I'll see you in the next one.